Hey, Bob.
Hey, Eddie. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi, Bobby.
I want to thank you for pointing out Dirty Honey and wanted to find out if you were going to be around Friday, the day after LA Invasion, because they're playing the Troubadour, and we're going to go see them for the first time.
Oh, is that right? I did not know that. Every time I go to L.A. or leave L.A., there's always something happening just before I get there or just after I'm leaving that I miss.
Yeah,
I did not know they were playing there.
Yeah, when I heard you announce it yesterday, I'm like, oh, I got to call him and let him know they're playing, so maybe he can catch their show too, because you gave me the heads up. I would have never known about them. So I'm looking forward to that. And then a side question, what's up with John 5 being on the Brady Bunch renovation show?
I don't know. I saw pictures of that, and I guess they opened a
crazy to see him in there.
Yeah, well, John is such a geek, and I mean that with nothing but love of so many things from the 70s and Kiss stuff and Brady Bunch and all that. That's probably why we're friends. But I guess I don't know what that's all about, because I was hearing on the Howard Stern show that when we had the big party in L.A. for the opening of the Sirius XM studios, that John and Gary went there and took pictures in some Brady Bunch house. Apparently they opened the original house or something. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, they remodeled the whole house, and then they had like behind-the-scenes shots, and John was in several of them. And I want to say he was with someone else that looked like Rob Zombie, but I'm not sure if it was him. But it was totally funny to see him.
Oh, that reeks of Rob being interested in being there as well. That's just totally like right in their wheelhouse. So, Bobby, thank you for your call. And thanks for the heads up about Dirty Honey. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to stick around because I have to fly out of LA on that Friday. This is Nathan, who is in Texas. Welcome, Nathan.
Father Edward, I just wanted to say it's an honor to finally be able to talk to you. I wanted to make this very quick because I know you have other callers. It's simply a question and a comment. My question, firstly, is when you were speaking about band members and how sometimes the original band members don't all get together with the original band. My question on that is, for an example, when Black Sabbath got together for their last tour, I felt compelled not to go, only from the sense that I grew up with Bill Ward and having him as that drummer and knowing his grooves and stuff. I was very disappointed. So I wanted to just get your take on to when fans, look at it from that of being hurt. And lastly, I just wanted to comment and say thank you for everything that you have done. I am a young African-American kid from a small town, and it was because of you, Jim, and everyone on that metal show of giving me an outlet to be able to see some of my favorite musicians on there. And also, when you asked about, the Travis Scott, what is his relationship with that? As a young African-American kid speaking, I think a lot of these artists in that world gravitate towards that because of the aesthetic, as far as the live performance and the way the graphic tees and things look like that. So I think that was more of somebody that he's
appreciating the show and the performance sort of aspect of it.
Right. But thank you once again, Father Edward. And like I said, just keep on doing your thing. And we're so glad to have you.
Nathan, super, super kind of you. I really greatly appreciate that. And look, I think, and Nathan, I mean, you're clearly an educated guy, and and are taking the time before you decide to go to a show or buy tickets to figure out who's in the band. And is it a lineup that I want to see? I mean, I've got massive respect for someone like Nathan, or really a large portion of my audience that is going to actually care about stuff like that. But the simple truth is the masses just don't. They don't ask questions. They don't know. They don't care. And that's why a lot of these bands can get away with doing big tours without a key member there or not. So make no mistake, whether it's Bill Ward not being in Sabbath or any of the guys being in the Black Crowes that had been in, besides Chris and Rich being in this reunion, I am fully aware that there's going to be people like Nathan and others that recognize that and decide it's not for me, I don't want to go. I respect the hell out of that. Don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. Don't think that I don't think that it's important who's in the band and that I don't respect people like Nathan and others who actually know and care. And honestly, I would expect the bulk of my listeners to know and care, because let's be honest, if you're sitting here listening to me and whoever I'm talking to or other callers be so passionate and care so much about rock music, I would think the bulk of you guys are in that camp where you know and you care and you are educated. I'm talking about getting outside of that bubble. The people who get offered 4 tickets for $100 on Groupon and they know the name and they see the logo and they're going to go and they're going to have tailgate with their friends and they're going to hear the hits they hear on classic rock radio 15 times a day for 30 years and have fun doing that. And they couldn't tell you who is or isn't in the band. There's unfortunately way more of those people than there are people like me and Nathan and others. But nothing but respect if you know and care. And then, by the way, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I went to see Black Sabbath with Tommy Clufettos playing. I knew I wasn't seeing Bill Ward. I wish I was seeing Bill Ward. Tommy Clufettos did an incredible job. He's an incredible drummer. And he did his own thing. I don't have any issue with replacement members. I understand most bands are not original. So that's not what it's about, but you have to judge each situation as it comes. My sort of tirade earlier was about the fact that this, regardless of how I feel or you feel or anybody feels, this is about business. And the bulk of the people have no clue who's in these bands or care or don't know whoever really was in the bands. They just don't. And I know that because when I get outside of my world, my whole life consumed with rock music, consumed with knowing the business, working in the business, all the things that I've done, I understand that I'm in this bubble that's not common. So when I get outside of that and I talk to my friends who I grew up with, who are not consumed with rock music, maybe at one point they were fans, they have no clue. Like I'll throw a band name at them and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, yeah, I would go to that." You know, they don't ask like, "Well, who's playing bass?" They just don't. So that's all I mean by that. And as far as Nathan's comments about that metal show, you know, it's crazy. He says he's a younger guy, grew up watching me, and I turned him on to stuff, and we turned him on to stuff. I can't tell you how many times I hear that. When I was in Houston over the weekend, I had a bunch of people come up to me. They're probably like, I don't know, early, mid-20s. And they're like, yeah, you got me into rock music. I grew up watching you. I was like, damn. Well, that's super cool, but it also makes me feel super old. But thank you. It really is very important. And I hear that a lot from people, whether it be through my radio shows over the decades or through, you know, what I've done on TV. But it's very, very cool. So I'm appreciative of that. Thank you, Nathan, for the call. Let's try to grab one more if we can. Brian in Illinois. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Good, man.
Hey, so you were mentioning can't name one about a money grab, and I would mention Robert Plant because there's been a lot of money thrown in front of him, and he hasn't budged.
Yeah, well, what I was saying, though, Brian, was not there is – my point was that there are reunions that are out there still that haven't happened. I acknowledge that. What I'm talking about is there's never been a reunion that has happened because it meant less money or less people. Thank you, Brian, for the call. My point was every reunion that does happen happens because it means more money and more people. Justin in Texas. Real quick, Justin, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Eddie. Honor to talk to you, sir. One thing, we've got to get you the hell out of Houston. That's like low on the totem pole of Texas cities.
Where are you, Justin?
I'm in Dallas, bro. I'm in Dallas, Texas.
I go where, look, hey, hold on, Justin, just to call it like it is, like I always do, just like a band, I go where the offer is. So I'm out tonight. I'm in
their ass whooped up here.
I'm in business too. I've been to Bomb Factory and I've been to Trees. I've been to some of the Dallas places, but I was in Houston because I was hired to go, just like a band. I'm not going to lie to you. So I go where the gig is.
I hear you, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I got a question real quick. So
yeah, I'm about to run out of time. So real quick, Justin.
Yeah, the money grab, the people who go on tour, isn't there always one person in a band who owns the rights, even though they might not be in the band? Do they still get paid as their band? And I'll hang up.
Yeah, Justin, thank you. Yeah, that is a possibility. Like Mick Jones still gets paid on those Foreigner shows he doesn't play because he owns the name.
A trend discussed on this very program in the past, the, in a way, encroachment of non-rock acts on traditionally rock-oriented music festivals, hip-hop and EDM acts as examples, being added to the bills on major rock festivals. Well, flip the script because the opposite has happened. Rapper Travis Scott, who once wore a Rush t-shirt during an awards show, I'd like to add, held his annual festival in Houston over the weekend. Who appeared at that very festival? One Marilyn Manson. The sole non-rap act there played a 6-song set. A mosh pit even broke out among the crowd as Manson did his cover of Sweet Dreams.
That happened. I was landing in Houston. I was in Houston. That happens in Houston on Saturday night. I was just in Houston this past weekend because of Foamhenge on Sunday. I was supposed to land in Houston around 7 on Saturday. Instead, I landed at 12:30. Story of my life with flight delays. And I saw a billboard up for that show. And if I would have known, if I would have gotten in at a normal time and knew Manson was going to do his set, I would have snuck in there just to see Manson do his thing and see how that would have worked with the audience. What was the reaction overall? I know there's stuff out on YouTube and stuff, but Ed, what did it look like?
Manson does very well in the hip-hop world. There are a bunch of rappers, like Travis Scott and a guy named Little Uzi Vert or something like that. They love Manson. They love Manson. It's
interesting. I wonder where that comes from. I wonder if it's just because he's so over the top and all that. I wonder the theatrics, I guess, because there's nothing in Manson's music that has any... I mean, Manson's never even come close to like a hip-hop thing. To my knowledge, I don't think much of his stuff has been sampled by the hip-hop community. So I'm wondering what the affinity for Manson of all the acts would be. But, all right, well, I'm glad that worked for Manson. It could have gone very bad for him. Who's this guy out there singing Antichrist Superstar at a hip-hop festival? But interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up online, see what it looks like. But I had heard from a few people that saw it, not in person but online, said that he seemed to go down.
Yeah, it worked well. Taylor Momsen has been active on social media as her and her band, The Pretty Reckless, are back at work in the studio on their next album. They're at London Bridge Studio in Seattle. According to photos she has posted and shared with fans online, both Matt Cameron of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Kim Thale of Soundgarden have been in the studio with them. So curious to eventually hear what is being worked on there.
I didn't know that that was going on. I would ask him about it when he was on this show a couple weeks ago, but Taylor is a huge Soundgarden fan. My God, she worshipped Chris Cornell. The Pretty Reckless were the opening act on the very last ever Soundgarden show when, hours later, Chris took his life, and she was so devastated she ended up canceling some of her own dates that were scheduled after that for a while. So I'm sure that she's probably thrilled to have the opportunity to work with some of the band members from Soundgarden. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll reach out to her and see what's going on.
Very cool. And one final thing here. Vocalist Russell Allen, known for both Symphony X and Adrenaline Mob, was injured during rehearsals with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Allen is he's one of many singers in TSO. He apparently slipped and fell while they were rehearsing. The band hopes he'll be able to rejoin the tour at some point, which actually kicks off today. 2 separate touring entities. It's that time of the year, but for right now, he is recuperating.
So what happened to him? Did he break something? Or?
I don't know. It just said he slipped and fell. They were rehearsing, and at this point, he's not on the tour.
Oh, wow. I'll have to reach out to Russ. I know Russ very well. That's he's on the East Coast version, I believe. There's, as you said, there's two. There's an East and a West, because Jeff Scott Soto does the West. And this is the time to make hay if you're in TSO as you get ready. They start earlier and end later every year. But every year when we see the receipts, the box office receipts for the biggest grossing tours of the year, even though Trans-Siberian Orchestra only has about 6 weeks to make their money, they're always in it because there's 2 touring versions and they do incredible business. The late, great Paul O'Neill, just a mastermind of that whole thing.